everybody, Farm Sim Snowy here. So this video we're going to be doing a little tutorial about the goats that are in Farming Simulator 25. I'm going to be showing you how to place down the appropriate animal pen for them, how to feed them, give them water if necessary, talk about how they breed and reproduce, how to buy and sell them, what you can do with the goat's milk and things like that. So hopefully I'll cover everything in this video. I won't miss anything out, and hopefully I won't mess anything up, but we'll see. So I've got a few things set up here already. We are on the Asian map Hutan Pantai, which doesn't really matter, but as of yet there is no animal pen for the goats to go in. Now, one thing to note, they will have to use a sheep barn or pasture. They don't have their own specific animal pen. It's a little bit like the water buffalo in FS25. They have to use a cow barn or pasture. So you will require a sheep barn or pasture. You can mix the goats with the sheep in the same pen if you wish to. So you can have 5 goats and 10 sheep, whatever you want to do. You can do that if you wish. So what we need to do, I mean, depending as well, if you're on a modded map by the time you watch this, or if there's one on one of the base game maps, there may be a sheep barn or pasture already down. You can use that to put your goats in if you wish to, but we don't have one on here, so we need to go into our build mode, which is just here, and we need to scroll down to the little cow icon because that is our animal section, and then we need to scroll across the top until we get to sheep. So like I say, it is saying sheep, but we've got to put goats in here as well. So this first one is a pasture. I am going to use one of them because this is the only one at the moment. We don't have any animal pen mods at the moment, so this is all base game what I'm showing you. This is the only one that requires water because it is a sheep pasture, as it says down the bottom. Oh, this one there is a barn, and that one's a barn, and that one's a barn. So the other 3 here are the barns. This one's a pasture. We'll place one down, and we'll place it about there. Now it's going to charge us 14 grand regardless, and why I say that is because we can extend and make this pasture bigger, so we can make the fence line a lot bigger. It will cost us more money to do that, but it will mean we can hold more than 19 sheep in there, which is pretty awesome. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about that. I have done a separate video on that, about the dynamic pastures and the grazing, so feel free to check that out. I will put a link to that video in the description of this video, and you can also find that in my guide to / how to playlist of FS25 tutorial thingy majiggies that I've set up. So if I hit X for me, because I'm on PlayStation, it will come up with this. Do you want to customize the fence for the sheep pasture? Now if I hit yes, like I've just talked about, we can then start customizing and making the fence real fancy, going around objects, making it bigger and increasing the capacity. But for this video I'm going to select no, and then it says, do you want to plant the meadow for the sheep pasture? Again, I do cover this in the other video, but if I hit no, what it's going to do is place that sheep pasture down onto whatever texture you've got. So at the minute I've covered this field in asphalt, so if I hit no, it's going to leave that asphalt showing in the pasture, which is going to be pretty ugly. So I am going to press yes. As far as I can tell, it doesn't cost you to do that, and then it puts some nice grass into that pasture. I'll talk a little bit more about the meadow in a moment, but not in massive detail, because again I do cover that in that video if you want to check it out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put down this barn here, this 48 grand one. Now none of the barns require water, it's automatically done for you, so all we need to do is feed them. So again, I'm going to place this down just there. It's going to do exactly the same. Do you want to customize the fence? No, I don't for this. And I do want to put the meadow down as well. You might as well do that, otherwise you're going to end up with pretty rough looking pasture, unless of course you're placing it down on grass anyway, and it wouldn't really matter. But the meadow is quite handy. Doesn't really do anything for the cows and the water buffalo, but for the sheep and the goats, It's pretty handy, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. So there we go, we've placed down our pasture and barn. Now, to buy the animals, you have two options to do this. You can come up to this little icon here, which will be next to any of your pastures or barns, little paw print here. If you watch the help window top left, if I walk towards it, it now says open animal dialogue. So for me, it's click L3 and it brings up this menu. So as you can see at the top, it says sheeps and goats, so you can put them in and you can mix them. If I scroll all the way down to the bottom, we've then got our goats. Now we've got baby ones, they're obviously newborns, 0 months old, 3 months old one, and 16 months old one. Now they vary in price, as you can imagine, so the babies are a lot cheaper than the adults. So I'll talk about the reproducing and things like that in a second. We'll get all this done out the way and then I'll cover that. But doing it this way, you get charged a fee. So basically you are paying for someone to transport them and deliver them to your pen, pasture, barn, whatever you want to call it. So at the moment, these newborns, these babies, we're going to get charged £30, euros or dollars per goat. So if I click on that and I max this pen out, that's going to charge us 690 for 23 of those. Oh, 23. That said 19 on that pasture. Oh well, never mind. That's a bit weird. The 3 months old, obviously a little bit older, so they're a little bit bigger and they cost more. So again, that's going to be 37 per animal. If I was to put 23 in there, 862. So you can see the total price bumping up. Now, if the adult ones, they're 16 months old, that's going to be 50 per animal. And if I max that out again, it's going to be 1,150 transportation delivery fee, whatever you want to call it. So you kind of, if you're doing it this way, you need to weigh up and how many sort of animals you're going to have, barns and pastures. Is it worth you buying or even leasing an animal trailer than buying it this way, buying them this way? That's the kind of thing you've got to weigh up there, the pros and cons of it all. Yes, it is quick, but is it going to be more expensive for you in the long run? So what I'm going to do is I will put in, I think we'll put some babies in, and I'm just going to put 10 in, I think. So we're going to get charged 300 there, so it goes from 2,000 up to 2,300 because it is adding on that thing. So I hit buy, X for me, it says it right down the bottom of the screen. Do you want to purchase 10 animals, goats? It's telling us the age, 0 months old for 2,300. Yes, we do. I click buy again. The animals have been purchased. Quit out that menu. Look at these little cute fellas. So that is one way you can buy the animals. The next way you can buy it is if you are on a map, it should have an animal dealer on it. For us on this map, it is up here, as you can see. So I'm going to visit there. And again, we have this icon there with the paw print. I've already got a tractor and trailer here ready to go. This is an animal transport trailer. Now, you can find these into your vehicle menus. If we, well, I'll start at the top so you can see where they are. So you'll load in, this is where you'll start up the top of all the tractors and drivables. It's all changed now from 22. If you keep scrolling down, we do have an animal section. Scroll across to animal transport, open that up. It's showing 3 because again we haven't got any mods out, it's all base game at the moment. The game's only just a week old as of present of recording this video. Now the first trailer, that's for horses only, so that is completely out of the equation. This is the one I've got, I've leased. If you look down the bottom, it tells you how many animals you can fit in there. So it will be 6 cows or water buffalo, 13 pigs, 13 sheep or goats, which is pretty good. Now this one you can tow with a tractor or truck. It's got that sort of pin hitch on it, like so. And then we've got this big bad boy, which is going to be either towed by a truck or lorry, whatever you call them, or a dolly. So you can use a tractor with a dolly, and it should come up. So these are the trucks. There's the dolly there. So you can still use that with a tractor, and it will act as a fifth wheel like a truck would. So you don't have to go buying an expensive truck like some of these are on here, which is pretty cool. Now this one, obviously, because it is bigger, if we look down the bottom, it can hold 12 cows or water buffalo, 36 pigs, or 38 sheep or goats. So pretty good, that one. But we do have this guy, so we are going to jump into there, start the engine up. This one's pretty cool. Not all of them do this, but this one does unfold, so we can simulate that we're loading the goats onto the back. Now if I drive up to this icon, just direct, already it's coming up the help menu there, look, open dialog box. So I am going to do that. I'm just going to show you that unfolding this trailer. So if I hit L1 and X for me, lowers that down to create a sort of ramp feel, opens the door, which is pretty cool. Now because we're in the dialog box again, I click L3 for me, brings up that same menu. Scroll down again to, sorry, well, you need to go across at the top. It's because at the animal dealer you can buy all the animals, so that's why, because we're down at the sheep pen, it will only bring up the sheeps and goats, because that is a pen that is specific to sheep and goats. Because we're at the animal dealer, we can buy any of these animals, so you will need to scroll across. That was my bad. I said I'd mess something up, didn't I knew I would. Scroll across the sheeps and goats, and then scroll all the way down to the goats. I'm going to buy some adult ones, I think, here, and I'm going to put as many as I can into that trailer. It only holds 13, so we will buy them. Now if you look to the right there, fee is at 0, because we are transporting these guys ourselves. So the figure we get quoted, 10,111, is going to be what we pay, because we're moving them ourselves, which is pretty cool. So if I click buy again, X for me, it then asks you to confirm, gives us the age of the goat, and the animal is a goat obviously, and the price, purchase them, quit out of there. There's our goats ready to go. I'm going to fold that up so they're all nice and safe. I'm going to back out of here, and I will see you down at our sheep barn. I'm going to put these goats in there. Right, so here's our area. I'll just pull in. Now again, what we need to do, like we did at the animal dealer, is drive up to that little paw print symbol, and if you watch the help window, there we go, it's, oh, I've gone too far, it's appeared there, open animal dialogue. Not going to worry about the doors this time, so if I click L3 again, it then brings us up with this menu. On the left hand side we've got an arrow pointing into that sort of box. That means basically you're putting in to that animal pen. If I was to scroll down, oh, I can't do that actually, I'll show you that in a minute. Again, that's my bad. So this is putting in. So we've got our 13 goats showing there, and it's also got a picture of the trailer just above there. It says 13 of 13, so I want to select that, and then we can put in as many as we want. So if you've got 2 animal pens and you only want to put 10 in here, we can just go up to 10, leave 3 in and take it to the other animal pen, if that makes sense. But we're going to put all 13 in there. So it says move to husbandry down the bottom now, so for me that's X again. Do you want to move them? Bit of info about them again. Move to husbandry. The animals are then in there, and you can see them around there. Now I'll quickly show you that menu again, so that I can show you how to take them out. So selling them, you basically do the reverse. So because I've clicked on that, it knows we're probably wanting to take them out because that trailer's empty. So it is showing the arrow coming away from the box, so that means taking them out. So if I click on that, and again we can take as many as we want out. Obviously the trailer will only fit 13 in, but we could take out just 5 if we wanted to, move them on or go and sell them. so not a problem. We could do that if we wanted to. I'm just going to move that out the way, because the other way to sell them, if you don't want any, is to come up like the first way we bought them. So come up to here, click on that, and again, because there's room in this barn, it does come up with the option at the start there to buy. So the arrow, we're on the arrow pointing into the box, so we want to scroll down to the arrow pointing out, and that is to sell. So again, we can sell as many as we put in. We only put 13 in, so we can sell 13. But again, if you look over at the fee on the right hand side, it's going to charge us 650, because I guess we're simulating that someone's going to come and pick them up and take them away for us. So we are losing 650 by doing it this way if we sell them like that. So that's how you buy and sell the goats. Now what we're going to do, we'll go over to the pasture. We're going to give these guys some water. We're not going to do any water in there because, like I said, it's a barn. We don't need to. It's automatic. And I'm going to skip on 1 month just to show you something. And then I'll show you different ways of feeding the goats as well. So this trailer's already full up with water. We do have a water symbol just here. You can see it's a little sort of raindrop, teardrop effect. So that's your water trough, even though it's covered in grass. And this is going to be your feed trough, so you can see like that. It looks like a bath really, with a load of muck in it. But that's your feed trough symbol. So if we drive up to here roughly, we should get a trigger come up. There we go, it says dump water. So I'm going to pop in some water there. It won't take a lot. I think it's about 1,500 litres, something like that. And then we'll stop there. So if I now go into this menu, which is your main pause menu, scroll down to the cow again, it gives us info on those two barns and pasture that we've put in. So this is our sheep barn. If you're not sure which one you've got selected, the picture of the barn is there on the right hand side. You may have a couple of them down though, so you'd have to work it out yourself. So we've got 16-month-old goats in there, 13 of, and at the minute everything's shown 0. But when we skip on a month, it won't be, and it will make a bit more sense. Now with the sheep pasture, we've got some newborns in there, 0 months old, 10 of. It does show that there's 1,500 litres of water in there, but everything else is empty. So again, we will skip on, and it should show some extra figures there. So we will sleep through till 10 AM, I think. Have a bit of a lying. And that meadow that we placed down, that will now show in one of the feed boxes, or the bars down the bottom of there, and some of it should be sort of reduced because basically they have started eating that meadow. So with the baby ones, now obviously because they are smaller stomachs, etc., they don't drink a lot of water, they don't eat a lot of food. So as you can see, the meadow down the bottom, that is 100% effective, along with grass and hay. So they will take grass or hay as feed as well, but that meadow's there. So it's kind of like a free bit of feed. But there is a bit of a warning with this meadow, which I'll cover in a second. But as you can see, the bar's gone down ever so slightly. Now if we come up to the top and scroll across to the sheep barn, that's gone down a lot more. Now it doesn't look like that sheep barn meadow holds as much as the pasture, but they've eaten a lot more anyway there. But if you look, figures are starting to go up. Their health's gone up to 40%, their productivity's gone up to 40%, and we've got 12 litres of goat milk there already. So that's pretty good. I'm going to cover that in a bit more detail and to try not to brainwash you too much. Now I just want to show you, see look, we've got goat milk coming up there. I want to show you that you can feed them with bales or loose grass or hay, and it's quite important that you keep your eye on that. So I'm going to scroll up to there, drive up to there, not scroll, back out. That bale should disappear. says. Okay, that's interesting. Right, what we'll do then, they should take bells. That's not going to do that. Right, I definitely know the pasture does. I might have to check that out. That's a bit annoying, especially when you're recording a video. I'll put this bow into this pasture then. If I drive over to here, drop that in. As you can see, that feed trough, I'm going to stop there. That feed trough has filled up. That bell now, it was 4,500 litres. That's only showing as 1,500 litres left of that. So there should be 3,000 litres in there, which there is, of grass. Now, I'm going to tab over to this vehicle. We've got some hay in here, which is loose. So whether you've got grass or hay and it's loose, you can tip it in. So if I now drive up to here, it does say dump hay there, look, there we go. So I can now tip that in, and that's going into the adult ones. You'll see the bar moving up, look, there we go. That will max that out. What, 11,500. Right, awesome. We've got some more feed in there. So there we go. That's how you can feed them, with grass or hay, loose or boughs. And with the meadow, like I say, it's worth using it, but once that meadow goes, it doesn't regrow, does not come back. So be very careful, because if that goes down, all your figures, your health bars, your productivity, it's all going to drop and come down, because obviously they haven't got any feed and they're going to deteriorate. They don't die, none of the animals die in Farming Simulator, but your productivity, health, etc. will all reset to zero eventually, and then you'll be back to square one. So keep an eye on your feed. I would definitely have some grass or hay in there. Don't rely on that meadow. I have noticed that they do eat that meadow first anyway. They don't touch any of the grass or hay until that meadow's gone, which is quite interesting. So just be very careful. Now we're going to talk about some figures reproducing and things like that. It's probably easier if I come up to this menu, because then you can see the figures. So if I scroll down to goats again, if we look underneath that picture of that goat, and where it says goat, it says the age of that fella, gestation period 5 months, it says puberty 16 months. And then the information there, it says goats produce goat milk, which can be sold directly or processed further. I'll cover that in a second. Goats eat grass and hay. Additionally, they require water. Now, only require water if you've got a sheep pasture like we've got here. The barns don't need them. It then tells us this is a lamb, because obviously it's a newborn. And then it says animals that are healthy and older than 8 months can reproduce. Now, that's not quite strictly true. I've done a bit of testing. Now, the easiest way to explain that is if we went down to the adults, because they are 16 months old, they are older than 8 months old. So with the gestation period, after 5 months, you will get some newborns. That's providing you've got room in your barn or pasture. So if, say for instance, this pasture here, it holds 23, we've got 10 in. If they were 10 adult goats, after 5 months, we would get another 10 newborns. So whatever amount you've got in there that can reproduce, you will get again, providing you've got the space in your pasture or barn. Hope that makes sense. It is a bit of a brainwash going on. Now with the 0 months old and the 3 months old, this is where it gets interesting. They need to hit puberty first. So they need to get to 16 months old. And then after 16 months old, it's going to take 5 months for you to get any new animals from them. So with these guys, yes, they are cheap as chips, but it is going to take a lot more time for you to get more animals from them. And also the milk, where they are young uns, they're not producing much milk. The 0 months old and the 3 months old I found produced or started producing milk only after 2 months of skipping on, which is pretty good, but very, very minimal. So I hope that makes sense. So they need to get to puberty, which kind of does make sense. And then after 5 months you will get newborns from them. So it is quite a long, lengthy process like that. Whereas the adult goats, they're good to go. After 5 months you'll be getting some newborns, which is nice. And you will also be getting some more milk, a lot more milk that way. So hope that makes sense, guys. I haven't brainwashed you. Now in terms of the milk, whoa, that's dangerous. You can, if we scroll down, at the moment there's no mods at the minute for sort of extra production, so we can't further the milk on any more than it's showing, but we can do a few things with it. So you will get goat milk, and that's what it's showing on the left. Now you can sell that. At the minute there's only one place to sell it on this map, and that's the dairy, so we can sell that there. You can, if you own the dairy, turn that into bottled goat milk and then sell it at those places. In fact, that's a lot, well, not a lot, but it's less money than actual goat milk. I don't know why you'd go through that process. And also at the dairy we can turn our goat milk into goat cheese and again sell that on at these places. So that is the things you can do with your goat milk if you wish to. But that is it from me, I think. I hope I have covered everything. I hope I haven't brainwashed you. Hope you have stayed to the end. That's a lot of hopes going on there. But yeah, really hope you have found it helpful and useful, guys. If you have, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to smash the bell so you don't miss any future videos I post. I've been Farm Sim Snowy. Stay frosty.